Good morning, Franklin. It's Monday morning. I'm Eric Stuckey, and it's time for the top 3 things you need to know this week. We've got some good distance here, and we're in a room by ourselves, so I'm going to go ahead and take the mask off for now. But I've got my top 3 things. Of course, I've got my Post-it with me to help guide you through this. But we've got an important meeting coming up this week. It's a virtual meeting related to our zoning ordinance update. And about a year ago or so, we updated our zoning ordinance, streamlined it, made it much more user-friendly, cleaner, more direct and easier to understand. But we had a couple topics that we were asked by the public and asked by the board to work on. So we've got some of those. Those relate to things like related to the floodplain, development in the floodplain. It looks at also different topics of interest related to like parking of trailers in residential areas. So there's some smaller items, there's some larger items, and there's also just some language cleanup that we've identified after using the zoning ordinance for about a year. So if you're interested in that, there's a virtual meeting this Thursday, August 13th at 6 p.m. It is a Zoom meeting. You can go to franklintn.gov/cleanup, and that will get you connected to that meeting. It is a Zoom meeting, and you can watch it either live and participate that way, or it will remain available to you to watch later. And we're also gathering any feedback people want to give us through the website I just gave you. So that's the virtual meeting related to our zoning ordinance update. So please be a part of that. Item number 2 is some activity over the weekend. We got a lot of concern about this. On Saturday, some party buses showed up because Nashville is restricting their activity with some of their COVID-19 restrictions. And so some of them decided to come on down to Franklin. And we learned about that about late morning, early afternoon on Saturday. Our police worked with getting some citations written and getting with folks because they violated some city ordinances related to alcohol consumption on public streets and amplification and the magnitude they were doing it. So that actually shut down pretty quickly. By about 5 o'clock on Saturday, they had shut down operations. So we did want to let you know about that, what we did to respond, and the existing city ordinances that address some of that type activity. So that's item number 2. Item number 3, I've got 2 items I want to touch base on. One is Blue Bin recycling. We've talked about that. It's been up and going for 2-3 weeks now, and that's good. We're seeing great participation. But we do want to remind you, make sure you're not putting anything in there that shouldn't go in, that is not a clean, dry, loose recyclable. We're still getting some trash and some other things that don't belong in there, and we don't want to contaminate that recycling stream. So just make sure, look on the lid of your Blue Bin. It tells you, gives you good instructions about the type of plastics and the various other types of items that we recycle and take there. So just make sure you're following that. And then finally, I talked about virtual meetings at the beginning when I talked about the zoning ordinance. There's a whole section about meetings. It talks about all of our different meetings, but gives you instructions about how to participate in virtual meetings. You can also look at the agenda for each of those meetings. It gives you instructions about how you can call in and participate in the meeting. There's also an email address that you can send comments ahead of the meeting. And of course, you can watch all of these meetings on Franklin TV, on our website, franklintn.gov, on Facebook Live, on the city's Facebook page, and through YouTube, through our YouTube channel. So there are lots of avenues to watch and participate and hear what's going on in our meetings. We'll probably have virtual meetings at least through the end of August. We'll see what other instruction we get from the state on that topic. So those are your top 3 things, with actually a bonus item talking about zoning ordinance update Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. And that's a virtual meeting there. Party buses, we shut those down and how we did that. And then we've got Blue Bin recycling. Make sure you're only putting recycling in there. And then finally, virtual meetings. You can go to franklintn.gov/meetings and learn more about that. That's it for today, Franklin. Have a great week. Stay well, stay safe, and take care.